Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Namaste, Lake Chapala. It's so great to be here. So great to have all of you here. Great to have our family here from the community. And today we're going to continue our deep dive. Our deep dive to a current, a literal current, like the current of a river that is beneath everything that we think we see, every thought that we think. Beneath everything, beneath perception itself, there is the current of this river that is always there, unseen by our human eyes and largely unfelt by our human senses. But there is something within all of us that does feel, that does sense, that does recognize. Because that current, it's like a force that's always pulling us. It's always drawing us to that infinite ocean. That's the longing that we feel. That's the energy that we feel, knowing that nothing in this world is ever going to truly satisfy us. Nothing is ever going to scratch that itch that we feel, that eternal longing of oneness, of love for love itself. And so all we're really here to do is to maybe use these words and these concepts to go beyond the words and the concepts so that we can come to the bank of that river and then dive in. To come to the bank of that river where the current is flowing so strong and just dive in and let it take us. So today, as we're sharing this lesson, if you feel that pull, if you feel that current, that river, just notice it. Sometimes when you notice something like that, you realize, oh my gosh, I feel this all the time and I didn't even realize I was feeling it. It's such a constant. But now that I know, now that I have been able to really feel the draw of this current of love and holiness and grace, I surrender to it completely. So once again, as you're listening to this, just see if you can feel and sense that current drawing you and pulling you forward. So we're going to continue with our lessons from this little collection I'm working on, based a little bit now. It's becoming less and less based on the impersonal life, and now it's becoming the impersonal light. Something new is shining, something grand is being born through and as each one of us. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this, and then I'll share, Vicki will share, and Christina is here as well. So Christina will share a little bit too. So here we go. This is called How to See Everything. I'm here to teach you how to see everything. Read that sentence or listen to that sentence once again. To see everything. It doesn't just mean everything you see with your eyes or experience with your senses, but literally everything. I am here to show you everything that is and to help you perceive nothing else. That means being able to ignore what is not, and everything that is not shared by both of our minds is not. It's that simple. That is because there's nothing outside the mind we share. So anything that you share with the mind of God is true, and only that. Anything that you are not sharing, anything that you're trying to hold back, anything that you're trying to, through some guilty belief or framework or foundation, anything that you're trying to push away, and yet to create a hiding place where you cannot have to deal with what you're pushing away. Those are the thoughts that you do not share with God. Therefore, they're not real. Therefore, they don't have any true effect. That's the key. They don't have a true or lasting effect, which is what we really believe from our ego mind. We believe that there's something that we've done, and it does indeed have a lasting effect. It does indeed have a consequence. All this is saying is that what you don't share in the mind of God, or in other words, what is not shared through and as love, has no effect, has no consequence. And there's great freedom in that. If you can just surrender into that knowingness and just allow that to take hold of you, then you're going to instantly access that river and that current that's beneath all of these thoughts and beneath all of these ideas. Because once again, that's all we're here to do, is to dive into that river and to let the current take you. And it will take you if you realize that the only real thoughts you have are the thoughts that you share with God or with love. Okay, going on. The first step to achieving this is to change your attitude toward all the things that you believe are not as they should be. To change your belief about all the things that aren't in your mind what they should be. If you believe that something is not as it should be, then you've admitted the possibility that there's a difference between what is and what isn't. And what is, hold on, and what isn't doesn't exist. Let me back up a little bit and do that again. If you believe that something is not as it should be, then you've admitted the possibility that there's a difference between what is and what isn't. What isn't doesn't exist. Oh my gosh, that is so simple. That is so obvious. And yet, that's what always trips us. The belief in what isn't, rather than the holding firm to what is. What isn't does not exist. That's the only thing you need to know, it says. That's the only thing that you need to realize. And what is eternal, unchangeable, and forever whole. It can never be separated from the isness of God, which is the same isness that you are and that I am. That's the mind we share. That's the eternal, unchangeable thought of God, which is within you and expressing itself as you right now. This is the 3-in-1, or another way of looking at the Trinity. Do you see that? That which is God is what you are forever contained within what I am. That's a very interesting sentence, and it does describe that Trinitarian experience. Once again, that which God is what you are forever contained within what I am. We could probably just sit and meditate with that for hours, and it would take us right to the center of that current. Anything that seems to interrupt that oneness is nothing, because nothing can interrupt that oneness except in your imagination. You can push it away, but it doesn't really interrupt it. Just like you can't change the flow of a mighty river. It's just too great. It's too strong. It's too powerful. You can't change what is eternal. Until now, you've been attracted to nothing, and so nothing is what you've received. Interesting. Until now, you've been attracted to nothing. Even though you thought it was something, it was really nothing, because you tried to do it apart from the isness or the mind of God. The reason for this is simple. In trying to escape from everything, here we go, you seemed to have created a separate alternative, but there is no alternative to everything. Do you see that? There is no alternative to everything. Once again, just because something seems to have happened doesn't mean that it has. You seem to be isolated and alone. You are not. You seem to be vulnerable to attack and ready to become sick and die at any moment. None of these things are true. And the instant you realize the impossibility of those possibilities, I like that, the impossibility of these possibilities will be the same moment you rest where I am. Take a deep breath and just feel that. That'll be the moment where you can rest where I am, which is just another way of saying to take a deep breath and rest where you've always been, the heaven that you never left, which is right here, right now. It's not somewhere else. It's not some other dimension. It's not a place that you go when you die. It's right here, right now. And you can rest there with a single breath. Isn't that what you want? To rest where I am? Why have you sought to rest where I am not? The answer is so obvious it hardly needs to be stated. You sought refuge where I am not because you experienced guilt for trying to make the impossible seem possible. What is impossible has no real effect. So nothing real has changed. You have not changed by imagining the impossible. What is impossible has no real effect. The only thing that is possible is that which has always been true. And you have always been true because I am one with you. You have always been true because I am. The I am presence, the I am frequency is one with you now, always will be. That's what we rest within. That is the heaven that we have found at last. Once again, rest where I am, and you will know we are the same. Rest where I am. That's such a beautiful thought. Instead of trying to rest where I am not. And then you realize why we're so tired, why we're so exhausted, why we seem to always be paddling up that river. That's an analogy I like to use. If you think of the current of a river and you're given a boat and you're told, get into that boat and just now take that boat into that infinite ocean. You say, okay, but you begin to paddle the boat upstream rather than downstream. What happens? You get tired very quick, don't you? Because you're going against the current. You have to fight the current, and it's hard and it's difficult, and you sweat and your muscles ache. Just as you are in your life right now, aching because you're trying to go against the current of the river that's always pulling you, always drawing you. All this is saying is stop it. Stop paddling against the current and just relax. And if you do, the current will take you. If you do, then the river, which knows which way to go, much more than you do, obviously, the river will take hold and it will just begin to pull the boat on its own. You'll need to do hardly anything. Maybe you'll need to steer it a little bit, but that'll be about it. I remember when I was living on the river in Portland, I had a floating house, and I had a stand-up paddle board that I would love to take out. And what I would do is I would paddle against the current, and I would go up pretty much until I was tired, until I just couldn't do it anymore. And then I would just turn the paddle board around, and I would sit on it. And I would hardly do anything, just let the current pull me all the way back home. And that's what we're doing. We're letting the current pull us all the way back home. You've been paddling for a long time, going in the wrong direction, but now you're on the way. Now you're sitting, just allowing that current to take you. And it's pretty nice when you do that. So, Vicki, let me go ahead and go on to the Bluetooth here, and then I'd love to have you share a little bit, and then have Christina share a little bit, and take it from there. Go ahead, Vicki.
Hi, Jimmy. Okay, Jimmy. So this last part of what you said is definitely a song cue for row, row, row your boat. I can hear it, because isn't that all it is? It's like gently down the stream. And the truth is, love is the current of our being. It's already what we are. That's why we are already home. And if we stop looking, like you said yesterday, externally, everywhere, to get solace, to get whatever it is we think we want, and just rest back into, this is a commercial for the pause, in that pause. The fuel, the energy, the gift of who we are, it inevitably arises, and it is the current that rows our boat gently down the stream. Life is but a dream in the form, but there's nothing that's part of the dream that is real except love. Love is already what we are, and it does show up and expresses as us, through us. And the only thing that is eternal is that love, and it is what we are. And there's nothing else to look for but to stay tuned to it and feel the current. It is a feeling, and allow it to take us, and it does. And that's it. Row, row, row your boat.
Amen.
And yeah, that's it. Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, the words are row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, not up the stream. Gently down the stream. When you do that, it becomes very gentle, doesn't it?
Right.
And then you
The
realize
other
life is but a dream.
thing that's good about, right. But the other good part about living in the flow, living in wild music, with immediate correction. All we have to do is stop again. It's for everyone, wherever we are in this. We just have to stop and compass back to love. That's all. And it is a moment maybe of trust, but stop the external anything, and we get the correction, and all our mistakes get taken care of. I love that. I love that we are not at the effect in any one moment of now corrects the whole mess that we found ourselves in or thought we made. And then it's the end of guilt too, because innocence is that natural flow of love that we can all open to no matter where we are if we put our whole attention on it. 100%. Thank you, Jimmy.
Oh, thank you, Vicki. Beautiful as always. And Christina, we're so glad that you're back with us, and people are clapping here at Namaste. I think they're very excited about the possibility of you coming to visit us one day soon. So, Christina, how does this inspire you?
Bless you. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Great. Oh, there's so much here. And Vicki, I love, it's funny, that simple children's song, but so many moments over the years, those last lines have come to me when I've seen, had moments of seeing truth through the waking up process. Life is but a dream. And in that moment of recognition, and even before we're in a moment of recognition, if we even just use truth, life is but a dream, that is a statement of truth. If we call upon that when we're feeling and recognizing that we've become deluded again, it can realign. And one of the things I love about the impersonal life, those 3 words are the door to awakening. Because all through our awakening process, we are identified as the person who is waking up.
Yeah.
But life itself is not personal. There is no person there. And this morning I read a quote from Hafiz. 0 is where the real fun starts. There's too much counting everywhere else. 0, when I hear that truth, I know emptiness. 0, emptiness. Emptiness is impersonal. Emptiness no longer includes Christina. Emptiness no longer includes all of the concepts and the thoughts and the beliefs and the resistance that we have to just simply being. And I loved what you said, Jimmy, about the effort of rowing the boat up the stream. There's a very powerful exercise that I use with the people that I work with. And initially, when I discovered this myself, it was so profound to feel the difference of energy that is adjusted according to where my attention is. So if my attention is in my mind, I'm identified, right? I'm in thought. I'm in my thinking world, which is where most all of the entire human population lives. If I take a moment and I just allow myself, my attention to drop from the head down into the center of my chest, and I just feel, there starts a calming effect, right? I'm no longer here in thought. I'm now present with something different than my thoughts. And when we go, we can use this as a game and initially, and this is what I do with the people that I work with, and that when I am focused here, I'm having a thought, I can immediately feel the energy drain. It's like somebody just opened the valve and all my life energy is just draining out. And then as I move down into that current, this is where the current is found. This is where the I am appears through our senses to live. Obviously, that's not where it is because we leave this body and we're still here. But as I drop into that current of emptiness where zero lives, where I, the personality, am not, and I just allow myself to listen and be, there's this immediate flooding of energy now being given to me. And oftentimes, especially years ago when I would go into my meditation and I would just drop into that current, my body would automatically have to take a breath. Like it had to accept this new energy that was now coming through me. And so it's not just a fighting, choosing not to fight against the current. It's also, I think of the birds of prey or the birds that just open their wings and the wind carries them, right? The river carries us, but we have to surrender to that place of emptiness. And initially that can feel scary and confusing and we may not know how, but if we just continue to look for that current, yes, it does take us. And yes, there is no person there. And yes, that is the freedom of losing the burden of the person who has all of their needs, wants, and desires, and beliefs, and concepts about everything that drain the life right out of us. So thank you to both of you and to all of you who welcomed me back so beautifully. There's oftentimes a call to rest in silence, and I never know when that call comes or how long it's going to last. So I have really just been resting in silence every moment that I can, and it has been such a beautiful, powerful, transformative time for our entire planet. So I just want to encourage everyone, if you hear that call, if you don't even feel like speaking today, especially those of you who are in community at Namaste, right? Allow it. Take that time to just be silent, because zero is where we awaken. Zero is where the Christ, the Buddha nature in us can arise and begin taking over. That current can then begin living our life. So thank you for welcoming me back to words.
Thank you, love. I just want to, in light of what you just shared, just share one more little part of what we just heard. Isn't that what you want? To rest where I am? Why have you sought to rest where I am not? Hmm. The answer is so obvious that it hardly needs to be stated. You just forgot, but now you remember. And now you feel the nurturing, loving support of just resting in that I am current, that glow, that light, that heaven, just to rest there where I am. It's so simple, it's so obvious, but now we just have to do it. Now we just have to take time, as you said, Christina, just to rest there, to take time every day, just to feel the arms of oneness wrap around us. So thank you, Christina. Thank you, Vicky. I'm going to go ahead and check and see if there's anybody here in the Zoom that would like to share anything. If you want to share something short. Yeah, George, go ahead.
There's another example besides row, row, row your boat. In the States, we have an event when kids are like becoming teenagers. The parent works with the child to build a go-kart, and all it is made out of wood, and it has a steering wheel. And then the race is that they're at the top of a hill, and the cart goes down the hill and then straight out. There's no brakes. There's no what do you call it, a pedal for making it go. All it is a steering wheel. And I found out when I watched all the kids, what you need to do is keep the wheel straight. If you go left or right, you're off the mark and it slows you down. So I told my son that just keep your eye on the goal that you're going to and go down the hill, and then they stop you at the end with hay bales or something like that. But it's a pretty good race. But it's just keep your eye on the goal where you're going. No left, no right, and stay centered.
Thank you, George. Anybody else in the Zoom room want to share? Yes, Alice. Oh, you have to unmute yourself, Alice. There you go.
Okay. Very moving today. And Vicky's talking about love, and Christina talking about the resting in the I am, and you bringing that so alive for us all, Jimmy. I was thinking, well, no, I feel the immense generosity of love, the immense generosity beyond we can even understand. And as we rest in the generosity of love, everything is just everything. That's just what I wanted to say.
I get it, because there's so few words that are needed for that, isn't it? The need for words becomes less and less, and all you can say is the generosity of love. That's it. That's it. Very simple. Thank you, dear. All right, let's turn it around here and see if anyone at Namaste would like to share anything. Anyone want to come on up? Dawn's going to share something.
Good morning. So happy to see you, Christina. Some of us are very much enjoying your book, and I hope you will come. I have two quotes, brief quotes to share, please. One by Werner Erhard, who said, "It's easier to ride the horse in the direction he's going." Profound. The second by Rumi, one of my favorite mystics, and this quote was new to me. He said, "The one who brought me here will need to take me home." And I feel he was referring to God and to the beloved who, through that beautiful divine desire, that longing that you speak of, to me, impels us, not compels, but impels from within us to go home. And of course, that last step, God pulls us through back to heaven, our home. So I give thanks for those quotes. I give thanks for rowing the boat gently down the stream, merrily, because we sure do live merrily here as one, and remembering that our truth and finding our way home together. Such joy. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dawn. Anyone else here at Namaste? Oh, yes, Calico, come on up.
Oh, you provide coffee. I love what you said, Vicki. I love everything you share, Vicki. But you said, and I may not have the words exactly right, when you find yourself not in love, compassing yourself back to love. And there was something that happened this morning. I had a great collaboration call with a mighty companion, and every time we talk, it just, you know, we're talking up in some, we're talking in mind, we're not in form. And she had mentioned the name of somebody who I have had some not helpful thoughts about. And I mean, I'm in my mind all the time. I mind train. That's what I do. So everything comes, if my thoughts are not helping, then I know who I can contact to change that. There's only one of me. So she mentioned this name. I started having this story. It was a complete storyboard in head. Nothing was spoken. She was just sharing how much love she had for this person. And I'm in my mind going, not my experience. And it's like, and it was really kind of, no, God damn it. You're going back to love, compass to love. And immediately thought, okay, what I'm thinking does not even need to be verbalized. In fact, it's better if it's not verbalized, because I am going to just change it where I have some control of doing something. So I listened to her share, and I'm going, man, I don't know who you're talking about. I've never met this person. I would like to meet this person. And it was just everything, just as much as I wanted. And this is where I rest and where it is not. I am doing battle with my mind. My mind is going, yeah, you don't know this person. No, I don't know this person because I'm not coming from love. So everything in my awareness had to be, I mean, it was like, I mean, I liken this because this is the way it feels like in my head. If you've ever ridden a horse full out, it's like the horse takes you at some point, you're just a passenger. And that's where it sits in my mind. It has that same feeling of when I so desperately want to go a different direction. That's not helpful. That's not loving. I'm compassed, I'm calico, and what she knows is right. And it's me letting go of the reins and allowing Holy Spirit to take control of my mind. But it seems like I should be doing just the opposite. No, hang on for dear life. No, you have to let go. You have to let go. And so that's that conflict. That's where I rest in that, where it doesn't live, because I'm so terrified I'm going to die. Something in me is going to die. And it really is allowing that to let go. And, you know, I'm just, not to take up too much time, but I have a lot of calls from people that are experiencing forms of cancer. And one of the first things I tell people is get out of your body, because that's not being helpful on any level. And there are definitely ways that I have found for myself to do that. Well, the same thing is when I'm in this death match in my mind. That's my ego mind in my body. My Holy Spirit mind doesn't even live here. Holy Spirit isn't even here. Holy Spirit is everywhere. I am not. So it's when I have these death matches in my mind, I know the only answer is to let go of control. And it's the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life. And I've had many opportunities to do it because I have an opinion about everything. So I just need to say that's when Holy Spirit is saying, or Jesus is saying, rest in Holy Spirit. It's, you know, look at your mind. Where do you have the death grip? We all have them somewhere. And where's your death grip? And are you willing to let that go? And that is a leap of faith. Namaste.
Oh, thank you, Calico. And just so you know, you're the only one that does that. No one else. That's not true. We all do. That's the whole point. We can all relate. And I look in the back and I see the lesson for the day. I feel the love of God within me now. That's the current we're talking about. That's surrendering to that divine current, just to release into the love that created, maintains, and blesses, and heals, and holds us. Just to fall back into that, like being in a boat, letting the current take us. And just as Calico said, just looking at everything that comes up in our minds, all of the attack thoughts that just seem to rise on their own, and then just looking at them and, okay, don't engage. Just let them fade, because the more energy, the more power we give them, the longer they seem to live within us. But if we just keep surrendering to that current and listening to what these lessons are sharing, come together and join as we are here, it becomes very simple, very gentle. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. And there it is. So thanks to all of you. Bless all of you. We're so grateful to have you with us. We hope you can come back. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, and then Sunday at noon Eastern time. And we're always very happy. So we're gonna turn it around and we're gonna do our closing prayer together so you can see the whole family here. So let's really proclaim the truth. Here we go. I am the holy, perfect child of God, complete and healed and whole, shining in the reflection of God's love. In me is love perfected,
His creation sanctified,
and
guaranteed
eternal life. In me is love perfected, fear impossible, and joy established without opposite. I am the holy home of love itself. I am the heaven where love resides. I am God's holy sinlessness itself, for in my purity abides God's own. And now we're going to the hot springs.
Yay!
So we're going to rest in the hot mineral water right at the edge of Lake Chapala. So namaste, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.